It's about 11 a.m. on a Wednesday morning on the 18th of July, just 2 hours into the discussion and analysis of the narrative of Frederick Douglass and an essay on Black consciousness by Steve Biko. Might sound a bit selfish, but regardless of the scale, I saw a parallel struggle between their lives and mine. Their courage to question and fight against the system that we're born into, whilst taking ownership of their own narratives despite the consequences, was inspiring. It dawned on me that I was born into an oppressive system of some sort, mild but oppressive nonetheless. I am feeling myself transform at this point. I look around the room and I see my classmates asserting themselves, telling their stories. I see them empowered while I sit there, paralyzed. Fast forward to the 20th of July at just about 9:30 a.m. I began to connect Marlon Sway's lecture on colored identity to the previous discussion. Given that colonial South African history was rooted in the separation of people by their differences, contemporary Nigeria deals with a similar issue, but in this case, it is a separation based on tribes rather than race. What would my family, parents, culture think of me exploring the idea of being much more than a single story? Doesn't this all stem from a natural human desire to be exclusive, to feel better or different from others? We are then consistently reminded of how similar we are. It circled back to the idea of giving myself permission to ask, could I be more? Am I more than my heritage and culture? As part of processing these experiences, I chose to discuss these outlandish ideas with my sister. She expressed that she had been letting life happen to her, being too relaxed, and felt that she had been on the passenger seat while her life, the car, moved at top speed. We talked about our culture, how our culture and fear of disappointing our parents have shaped our lives. Hers into a series of conformist decisions that seems to benefit everyone but her, and mine into a feeling of being on autopilot in my own life. She was conflicted by the timelessness of the issue, yet proud of me for identifying the importance of taking ownership and steering the wheels to your own life. She said to me, and I paraphrase, "You are living out the dreams of our parents for you. You are excelling and pushing boundaries in your quest to obtaining your highest form of education. But you are also living out their worst nightmare, because now you become knowledgeable enough to pick and choose how to live your life. They want you to be educated, but not too educated." She called me a walking contradiction. We talked about how we were born into these ideals that are governed by our Igbo culture, and dare to question or challenge these ideals and face the wrath from everybody. We acknowledge and take pride in being Igbo. We have also been privileged to encounter all these different ideals and cultures that forces us to evolve in ways we think. It becomes a question of, what is best for me? And not, how can I avoid being an outcast? We vowed to each other on about 7 a.m. on the dawn of Saturday, the 21st of July, 2018, to take back control of our lives within the confines of our own version of morality. Although the majority of our siblings would probably consider us radical, knowing that we have each other alleviates this burden of having to assert our voices. We have broken out of our in-group favoritism. We do not seek to abandon our roots and choose another group to identify with, but to be an amalgamation of all which makes us whole.